That is amazing. How in the world did that happen? I'm Tiffanie Kellog, and I'm excited to be here for our Wow Women Wednesday as I talk to some amazing women that have done some wow moments. And I'm super excited today to be joined by Kelly Ann Jenkins, who did something that I didn't even know was a thing. So, greetings, Kelly Ann.
Hi, Tiffany. How are you?
So, what is it that you did?
So I just finished the World Marathon Challenge, and that's where you run 7 marathons on 7 continents within 7 days.
Okay, I have to say that is a wow. Like I won't even do a 5K or a 1 mile. I'll walk 20 miles, but no. So what in the world made you think I want to do the World Marathon Challenge? 7 continents, 7 marathons, 7 days.
Like I always love goal setting. I always love a good challenge. And back in 2017, I was on a podcast, and he called me and he's like, Kelly Ann, I heard about this thing and it has your name written all over it. You love to run, you love to travel. So he's like, you run 7 marathons on all 7 continents within 7 days. You have to check it out. I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. So I immediately looked it up, started following the race director and the athletes on social media, and tried to figure out how I could do that myself.
Yeah, and I think it was probably about that same time you were going through Ignite Your Business because I remember you bringing up like, oh, there's this thing, 7 marathons, 7 continents, 7 days. Like, oh, I'd like to do that, though. I need to make sure that I'm not practicing law because you are a practicing attorney, though. Sounds like you're running a little bit more nowadays.
Yeah, I am. I definitely still practice, but one of the things going through the Ignite Your Business program I was working on was how can I have the business run without me, and also like I want to do things that kind of inspire me and keep me motivated. And so this was a little bit of both of those coming together.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do it? What were the steps that you had to take to get there? Kind of set us up because it was 2017. You didn't run to 2023. So give us the pre, and then we'll get to the actual race in a minute.
Yeah, so I think I actually signed up for it in 2020. And during that time, we were all on lockdown, we were stuck at home. We had basically transitioned the law firm to run remotely because there were no in-person court appearances, no in-person depositions or mediations. So as we transitioned everything to run remotely, it kind of freed up my time and allowed me to be a little more flexible. So while I was sitting at home, I realized that the gyms were closed and I wanted to stay in shape. So I was working out at the park across the street and making up my own workouts, going for runs. And I just thought it would be really good to have a challenge. And I also do a lot of reading. So during that time, I read Colin O'Brady's book. And Colin O'Brady was the first person to cross Antarctica solo,
Oh.
like self-supported.
Mm.
And it was just an absolutely inspiring, incredible story. And it got me thinking, what have I done? I need something to keep me motivated. And I think it was because he was in Antarctica, it kind of triggered that memory that, oh, I've always wanted to do this World Marathon Challenge. I wonder if it's still happening. And I wonder if it's something that I can do now that I have more flexibility with my schedule. So I reached out to the race director, and he provided me with all the information, answered my questions, and I pretty much signed up right there.
So I would guess that there's some pretty stringent requirements or hurdles to jump over to become a part and do the World Marathon Challenge. What all does it entail?
So really the big thing was training, getting in the right mindset for it. I started training when I signed up in 2020, and the reason I didn't run it until this year was because of COVID restrictions. Australia wasn't open, so the race was actually scheduled for November of 2021, and it was moved multiple times until we were finally able to go freely around the world this year.
So was it good that you had the extra time to prepare, or was it kind of frustrating that it took so long to finally get there?
A little bit of both, because I learned some things through that process, things out of your control, which was a big lesson throughout this entire journey. Consistency over perfection. sometimes, like I said, things don't go to plan every single day, and consistently going for my run, consistently doing my workouts, consistently staying on top of my nutrition, my stretching. Um, One of the first things I did when I signed up was hire a running coach, because I knew that the hardest thing would be to get to the start line without getting injured.
Oh.
And I figured if I tried to do that on my own, if I trained myself, I would overthink it. I would run more than I should. So I really needed to get out of my own head and just kind of follow someone else's instructions.
It makes sense, find the expert that knows what's going on. So Matt Wilkerson says, sounds super tough. Was it super tough?
It was and it wasn't. I think training for it was really tough. Yes, it's rolling, but once you're in it and you're just focused on the moment. So I think one of the things we talked about quite a bit back when I was doing Ignite Your Business was I had just gotten into daily meditation and journaling, and a lot of that has helped me really be present in the moment instead of thinking about all the things that could happen in the future or worrying about things that have happened. And when you're present in that, and you're trained for it, like I didn't go into this untrained. I did train since 2020, so physically I was ready. Your body just adapts. It was challenging, but so much fun at the same time.
I sound like I think I would be one that wants to cheer on the race versus actually doing it. So, talk to us a little bit about one thing that we haven't talked about, and then we're going to get to the race itself. Is you did some fundraising prior to. Is that typical, right, something that people do as fundraise, or did you decide you wanted to turn it into a fundraiser?
Both. I would say at least half of the group that ran fundraised for some type of charity or foundation. I know right around the same time as I was considering signing up, my sister was diagnosed with MS. And so at that time, I was like, well, what can I do to help? And the only thing I could really think of, besides being there for her in any way she needs me, was to try and raise money for MS patients. So I did a lot of research on other organizations benefiting MS or researching MS, trying to find cures for MS. And there are a lot of really big, great organizations out there. But what I wanted to do was actually impact the MS patients, like personally and on a local level. So the organization is called the MS Happens, the Foundation for When MS Happens. We go by MS Happens for short. Basically, what the goal is it's 100% volunteer organization at this point, and we are raising money to help MS patients with little like everyday things that you might not think of. It could be excess medical bills, or it could be that the patient, is so tired they have trouble cleaning their house. So it's us providing services, things like that kind of impact them on a daily basis.
That makes total sense. And y'all, I do have the link here for MS Happens Foundation, so you can go. How much funds did you raise?
I raised about $30,000 when I was out there, which was awesome.
Cool. Okay, so we've kind of danced around this. I'm dying to know. Tell us about those 7 days.
Yeah, so it was wild. So I got to Cape Town about a week before the race started, and all of the runners were supposed to meet in Cape Town. We had a schedule planned, but it was a loose schedule. And the race director contacted all of us maybe 2 days before we were set to start, and we showed up at the hotel, gave us a race briefing, kind of told us what to expect. We had to meet with a logistics company as far as getting into Antarctica, so we had to make sure we were kind of following environmental regulations, things of that nature. And so first thing we do when we show up to this race briefing, the race director says, "This is the point where you surrender all control. The only thing you need to worry about is running. I will take care of everything else." And if you think about the type of people who are signing up to run 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days, a lot of type A people who maybe have trouble giving up control. But I think that was really part of the fun, and what made the experience so enjoyable was because I was able to give up control. And it's true, you know, as a runner, when you're running a marathon, you worry about everything you eat. Like, am I hydrated enough? Did I get enough salt so that I'm not too hydrated? What are my electrolyte levels right now? How much food have I eaten? What if this food upsets my stomach? What about my shoes? What about the weather? So many little factors that merely just obsess about. And I realized that I couldn't control any of it. So it didn't matter. All I had to do, no matter what time of the day or night it was, whenever we showed up in that location, put on my shoes and go for a run. So I guess we started in Cape Town. That was kind of the first gathering. And the plan was that was Saturday afternoon. The plan was to leave Monday morning for Antarctica. We were going to run Antarctica Monday evening. So we had to do COVID tests to get into Antarctica. We did our logistics meeting with the company taking us into Antarctica. And that was on Sunday morning. I was sitting by the pool, kind of relaxing, just trying to get myself mentally prepared for the challenge that was about to start. And the race director came out. He was trying to find all the runners. Change of plans, go pack your stuff. We're leaving for Antarctica tonight. So now the first thing, completely out of our control, prepping to leave the next day, but no, we're leaving tonight. We're flying overnight to Antarctica. We're not going to have any sleep. We're landing in Antarctica. We're running a marathon. It's go time.
Wow. What made the change?
Weather.
So
weather in Antarctica changes really, and we learned that there were some pretty strong up to in the following day. And if we didn't go, we were going to have to wait probably another 3 to 4 days to leave.
Oh, wow.
So the plan was, let's get in while we can, let's run, and then move on. The other interesting thing about Antarctica that they told us with the logistics company, they said, don't check the weather because it's not accurate. Whatever you're seeing is not accurate. Of course, all of us check the weather anyway.
Of course.
Because I'm curious. So what the weather app is telling me is that it could be a low of 26, high of 36 and sunny. That sounds like a beautiful weather for.
Yeah.
Well, we landed in Antarctica. It was around 5 a.m. local time. The race director says it was really cold. And the race director says, well, the good news is that it'll warm up as the sun comes out today, as the day goes on, because it is still very early morning. And they kind of guided us, like the women we had like shipping containers where we could change and get ready for the race. We were on a research station. And so the researchers actually live in these shipping containers. Has like a bunch of bunk beds and like a little tiny toilet, basically. Walked us to the shipping container. I already can't feel my toes. It is so cold. I'm a Florida girl. I was not prepared for this, but I had so many layers. So I start putting on all my layers. I'm like, I'm wearing all of them. I will take them off if I get too hot. As we're in the shipping container, there was a small window, and I look out the window, and it's a full whiteout. And I'm like, well, that wasn't expected. So one of the race directors comes in, he kind of knocks on the door, and he's like, so the weather is not getting better. Get dressed, we're starting in 20 minutes. We get out there, the winds are blowing. It is so cold. They told us they actually shortened the course. So what we were supposed to do was supposed to be a loop that was about a 5K so that they could kind of keep us contained, but still give us some sort of a loop. And when we landed, they said we had to modify the course because for everyone's safety, they had to keep flags along the course so we could see where we were going. So it's like, you're going to go out and back 10 times.
Ugh.
I was like, okay.
This sounds like really long suicides.
Pretty much. And, at this point, like, I'm like really amped up. I'm ready to go. It's cold. I just want to start running. So the race, take off, start running out, have a tailwind. So it doesn't feel so bad. I get hot immediately. So I'm thinking, okay, great. When I get back, I'm going to have to go to the aid tent, kind of throw off some of my gear. Hit the turnaround point, and all of a sudden it's like running into a wall. The winds are so strong, we're not moving at all. There was a group of us that tried to draft with each other. So we'd take turns leading and the other two would tuck behind. It was just so we could barely shuffle. But the winds just got worse and worse as the day went on. And they told us after we finished the race, it was negative 26 degrees. And we had winds up to 50 miles an hour that we were running against. There were, for a good portion of the race, I would run out with the tailwind and then turn around and just walk back. And walking was a 10 out of 10 for effort. It couldn't have been any more challenging. Everything in my body hurt. And all I was thinking was, this is race number 1, and my goal was to take it easy so that I could manage to do 6 more. And I'm hurting so much just from walking. I don't know whether I'm going to get this done. Mentally, it was so challenging. Physically, it was challenging. I kept repeating in my head because I didn't have any music and it was just silent out there.
Oh.
I was like, I'm in Antarctica, look around. Not very many people ever even say they were here. I wanted to do this. I get to do this. And I just kept repeating that over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
So, but yeah, when I finally finished Antarctica, I kind of hobbled to change, and I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do 6 more. I don't know what just happened. It took me 30 minutes to change. I didn't have the energy to even to walk outside to go get food because I was so cold now at this point. When I started to sweat, my clothes froze to me. It was wild, the whole thing. And then by the time I got back on the plane, I had on dry clothes. I had a little bit of food. All I could think was, that was epic. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, six more times do it again,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Was that the most memorable of the 7 races, or?
Probably the most memorable, just because it was so unique, because it was so challenging. There's really nothing like it. We were running on snow and ice, so I had a giant blister on my foot from my shoes kind of sliding the whole time. Plus, I had 2 layers of socks and feet warmers in, so my feet.
Oh, that's not good before you have. So where did you run the other 6 races?
So we flew from Antarctica back to Cape Town. We ran the next morning in Cape Town. The weather was 84 degrees, which for me was beautiful. I loved Cape Town. It was a pretty loop right along the water. Being from Florida, being out there in their summer sun, I knew to put on sunscreen. A lot of the group was pretty fried after that race,
Oh, no.
but I managed to get through it unscathed. But it was just a really pretty run. And then we encountered some logistical issues. So the race director had chartered a plane because it was the easiest way to get us from location to location.
Yeah.
And this plane was supposed to start in Cape Town. It didn't go to Antarctica. We had a completely separate plane because logistically flying in there you need a special plane. So, but the chartered plane was supposed to meet us in Cape Town to fly to Australia. The plane, we'd finished the marathon in Cape Town. The plane was in Madrid still. It had not made it to Cape Town. So apparently someone in the airport in Cape Town was supposed to sign a permit allowing the plane to come to Cape Town, and the permit granted the plane access to fly from Cape Town to Australia. This person was just a government employee who just didn't sign the permit. No reason, just sitting on a desk like, oops, forgot.
Oh, no.
So the race director and everyone involved were calling all of their connections all over the world. I think at one point the president in South Africa was on the phone calling to try and get this permit approved. So someone had a bad day.
Oh, no.
Once it finally got done. But yeah, it was crown, which meant that we lost a day. So now we have 5 more marathons to run, and we have about 4 days to get them done. So from there on out, it was a blur. It was a complete blur. We flew from Cape Town to Perth, Australia. Landed, ran the marathon there. I think regulations we were required because the flight was so long. I think it was a 12-hour flight, and the crews can only work for so long without taking rest.
Yeah.
And then I think some local regulations, we were required to at least stay in Australia for another 12 hours.
Oh.
So we ended up leaving there about 3 a.m. From Australia, we flew to Dubai, landed in Dubai, went straight to the race site, started running. And then because we'd been delayed, the next race was supposed to be in Madrid at a Formula One racetrack, but the racetrack had another event because now we're a day late. So the race director found another small town outside of Madrid that wanted to host us. And this may have been my favorite race because of this. So we went to a small town called Torre Laguna, and a tiny, tiny town. We'll put it this way. The race was 33 laps around the town because it was that small. Like 33 laps. So now I'm thinking mentally how you prepare for that. That's less than it's less than a mile a lap.
Right.
And it was on cobblestone streets that were hilly. So it was up and down, and around 33 times.
Oh, and we don't do, for those of you that aren't from Florida, and I don't know where all you trained, in Florida, we don't have hills. Like if I'm trying to, when I was doing the 3-day walk, I would go to the bridge to go over the hill, but it's still not that big of a hill. Did you train for the hills, or was it just kind of like?
No, I didn't do any hill training because all the courses were supposed to be flat.
Oh my.
So I have done hill training in the past. Oddly, that was one of my fastest marathons and the one I felt the best. The weather was absolutely beautiful. It was maybe 50 degrees and sunny. Everyone in the small town showed up to support us. The mayor was so excited to start. He started the race for us. We got to go to a local bakery afterwards and had just local pastries, which was amazing. So you really got the small town feel. And the kids would run laps with us. I have a photo somewhere. I'm running along the street, and there's a little girl on her bike riding alongside me.
Aw.
So that was just a super fun race for me. Like I enjoyed every moment of it. But then, so now it's Sunday evening. We're in Madrid. We have to be in Miami before midnight the following day. So we had to run in Madrid, and we flew to Brazil. We landed in Brazil. From Brazil, we were so rushed. The race director was like, get on the bus. There's no time for showers. We're going straight to the airport. So I took some wipes, wiped down, changed. We started the 11:50 p.m.
Wow. Are you frozen for us? I don't know. Those of you watching on social media, is Kelly Ann coming through, or is she frozen here? I think you might be frozen, Kelly Ann.
I'm here. I don't know which.
Oh, okay, I can hear. I'm going to turn your camera off and turn you back on. Maybe that'll help. All right. Maybe refresh your computer and see if that will help, and we'll bring you back in, because I'm dying to know about landing at the middle of the night in Miami. As she's hopefully going to pop off and come back on or get a better thing. Again, she mentioned she is running for the MS Happens Foundation, not running for, but fundraised for it. So I do encourage you guys to check that out. And also I want to let you know about the More Abundant Entrepreneur Show. So this is happening on next Tuesday. So this is going to be happening on Tuesday, May 16th. We do actually have this happening every month. The next one coming up is our event on May 16th. And we will have myself sharing how to have more fun. Tom Fleming is going to talk to us about how to have more time. And Steve Tenuzzo is going to talk to us about have more money. This is a really fun show that we enjoy doing. And you get 10 minutes of the segment with the presenter, and then a little breakout room. 10 more minutes of the presenter, different presenter, and then the breakout room. And then finally, the last way is the presenter and then the breakout room. So it gives us the opportunity to find out what's going on with folks, do a little bit of networking, and work towards having that more abundant entrepreneurial going on. So I'm just checking to see if I've heard from Kelly Ann. Hopefully she's signing out and coming back in so we can hear the rest of the story. I do want to share that we have from, this is not the same Kelly Ann Jenkins. I know that would seem that way. So Kelly Ann McLaughlin Jenkins, who we both happen to know too. I always laugh that I've got two Kelly Ann Jenkins in my network. She said, amazing achievement. So neat to hear the details. Thanks for sharing, Kelly Ann McLaughlin Jenkins. So now I'm just going to go check. Here's the fun of being alive. Let's see if I can get back to Kelly Ann. She was frozen up, so she may just be restarting. Here we go.
Yeah, I don't. Apparently, my Wi-Fi decided to completely shut off.
That's the joy of going live, right? Sometimes we have that happen.
It sure is. That's
Oh, and it seems like you may not be coming through.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go off Wi-Fi entirely.
All right. We're trying to make this happen, y'all. Such is life as we have it. Maybe we're going to turn this into an unexpected 2-part series. Like, come back next week and learn more, which may be what we do. So I want to say thanks, everybody, for being here with us today. As we listened to Kelly Ann, we've learned about part of her race. What I am going to do, because I don't think she is coming back through, maybe, the joys of technology, right, y'all? It's how it goes. It's how it happens. So what we'll do is we will be scheduling part 2 of this interview series with Kelly Ann, hopefully in the next week or few. And I will look forward to seeing y'all soon. Happy networking, y'all.